Thank you for joining me, Brittany. It's good to see you again.
Good to
It's been
see
a
you.
while. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
So, my name is Brittany Lockard. I have a background in exercise science and kinesiology. My undergraduate degree is in exercise and sports science from UNC Chapel Hill. I did a 1 year master's in teaching for high school science after that, and have also obtained my PhD in exercise physiology from Texas A&M University. And now after being adjunct at various universities for numerous years, I am at the University of the Incarnate Word on a tenure track position in kinesiology.
Sounds fun. Sounds like a lot of good
Keeping
experience.
me busy.
So, as you know, I talked a little bit about my project of how I'm building a exercise program for home workouts. So individuals don't have to go out and uh, go into a more tense environment, having a safer home
Right.
environment.
I
How
love this idea.
Yeah, thank you. How do you think body weight and home exercises form and technique is important?
Well, I think you're hitting on a lot of great things. I have to at least comment on why I said I love this idea, first of all. I think it's pretty brilliant that you're taking a lot of things that people consider limitations to being able to exercise. You're taking a lot of that out, whether it's the cost of needing to join a gym, whether it's traveling to the gym, or even finding childcare while you do your workout. If time is an issue, well, then you've taken out the travel time, and who can't find 5, 10, 15 minutes here or there throughout the day to throw in a couple of exercises, even if you have to space them out throughout the day. So I think that your program is a great idea of something that anyone could utilize and take advantage of to knock down all of those barriers and actually get more physically active, have more physical activity throughout their day. And then you've asked me to specifically talk about form. And I think this is where you, as the exercise instructor of these video clips, would really come in handy. I think that can be another area where people might say, well, I'm not going to exercise because I don't know what to do. Or, oh yeah, I've exercised before, but I end up getting injured and then I'm just out for longer. So in the end, exercise is more harm for me than it is good. These are again, barriers or issues that people come up with along the way. And so I do think even if they're not going to be going to a gym, they don't have machines that they can sit in that are going to guide their body alignment through an exercise, or they don't have a personal trainer that's going to specifically give them feedback on body mechanics or whatnot. I think that they can still get a lot of this from the appropriate trainer that's leading an online workout session. And like I said, that can be an issue. People can have issues with their form. I think that this is almost more common when you're doing body weight exercises. So I'm thinking squats, lunges, push-ups, crunches, things like this that I presume you would have in your program. And, I think sometimes people just feel like they could just flail around and throw their bodies around. And since they're not lifting these huge, massive dumbbells, then maybe form doesn't matter so much. But for most of us, our body weight is enough to give us a good workout.
Mm-hmm.
But we also need to recognize that that's still probably 100, 150, 200 plus pounds that we're moving during a session. And so, yeah, you need to be educated in how to appropriately move that weight and through what acceptable range of motion, so that you don't injure yourself and put yourself further back from being able to do exercise or even enjoying physical activity, because it shouldn't hurt that way.
That is true. I feel like a lot of people they want to get the most out of it, and they want results quickly. We're a gratification type of society where you want these things right now rather than learning the proper form and taking the proper steps of teaching your body to do things and then actually doing it. So I think
Yeah.
great parts there.
I teach I'm certified as a personal trainer through the National Academy of Sports Medicine, and they're not the only ones who use a system like this. But one of the things I like about them and that they heavily utilize is they start with an assessment where you look at an individual and you can see where they may have muscular imbalances, either from repetitive movements that they do in their daily life or through repetitive patterns, such as maybe sitting all day long and then they have tight hips, perhaps. And then basically your first couple weeks to months on the program are actually more corrective exercise and lighter intensities than, what you would think of as, well, I want to get bigger, faster, stronger. So I need to be slinging around, 100-pound dumbbells and sprinting, up my stairs, back and forth 20 times. And I think a lot of people who go through programs like this surprise themselves when they realize that if they take a couple of weeks and focus on form, not only for safety purposes, but when you're doing things with proper form, that means you're also recruiting the correct muscles that should be being utilized during that exercise, then your strength comes rather quickly after that. So you really will start to see the benefits pile up faster when you did it slow and steady to start to make sure you were doing it right. And then you can kind of, that becomes your new habitual body movement. Your body will know to do it that way. And you can kind of run with that.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. It's the process of starting is the biggest step. I think it is a big barrier for people too, just because it is daunting, and
right.
It's also hard for people to go slow rather than full paced workout 5-6 times a week. But I think you touched on some really good stuff there.
Yeah, and I think kind of like you were saying, it's hard for people to go slow to start. I imagine that you're going to run into both kinds of people. You're going to find some people who don't like working out at all. So for them, it might be pulling teeth to say, okay, 3 times a week, I can do this for 30 minutes, 3 times a week. Mm-hmm. And then you might have people who maybe they're not currently exercising, but you kind of tap into the athlete that they used to be, right? And right from the get-go, they're like, oh yeah, I remember, squats and lunges and push-ups. I used to be able to do 100 of each at a time. And then they want to get right back into that. And so it's important, for you as the educator in starting this program to remind them, we're all starting from zero. We're starting from where we are right now, and we're going to build up from there. It doesn't matter if you've been an athlete before or not. Like, we're going to start here. We're going to build up slowly. Trust the process.
Yeah. Perfect way of saying it. So you kind of touched on some of the expert resources that you've been exposed to for your certification. I'm not an expert. I've been working out and I've taken classes obviously in it, but I'm not an expert. So what kind of resources would you recommend for participants in this exercise program?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, for the actual fitness professional, NASM, which I mentioned, and then also ACSM, which is the American College of Sports Medicine, both of those are great organizations. If I was to say a third, I'd say the American Council on Exercise, ACE. And the reason that I kind of threw that in and mentioned the 3 of those is because ACE in particular, but I would say the other 2 as well, do have a lot of free resources. I can say even, for me as a fitness professional, I have a fitness Facebook page, and I have it set up where ACE is connected to my fitness Facebook page, and they have permission to post articles on my page. So even when I'm not active on my Facebook, ACE is in there posting some little educational tidbits for me. So there's fitness companies out there that us, fitness professionals can get certified through, but also, what they're most concerned with is continuing to get the education out to, everybody that's actually doing the workouts. So that's just one example, but you could go to their website and surely they would have workouts, maybe even little video snippets, clips of how to do this with proper form, what to do, what you should feel, and what you shouldn't be doing and shouldn't be feeling.
Mm-hmm. That makes good sense. Just being able to, have the outside resource that can educate you further than I can state. And like I state clearly, I'm not an expert in these videos. I'm not someone who, has been certified in all of these things, but just having them, know that there are resources they can go to that them self-educate themselves might actually increase their investment in it.
Yeah, and I think, that's one thing I would say is if you're reading someone's blog or if you're on YouTube watching someone's videos, it would be beneficial to know a little bit about that person's credentials that you're reading from or that you're watching their video from. I think you're a great example, that you don't always have to have the, certifications and degrees to back your name to be a trustworthy person to listen to. So, that's not an end all be all. I'm not saying that if you have the certifications, this person's good and you should use them. And then if you don't, you shouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
I think that what those certifications don't account for is life experience. And knowing you, Curtis, I know that you have a lot of great life experience in the field of fitness and exercise. And you probably have experienced even more than I have in the ways of what to do or what not to do and what good form should be like and what happens if you don't have that good form.
Yeah.
Some things you learn through experience, and that's definitely worth valuable for sharing with other people as well.
I think it's important to know that, it's not just about what the person has behind their name, but also what they've been through and also it's how they approach it. Like look on the online environment, there's a lot of stuff out there and it can be, potentially great, but also can, negatively influence people just based off the images there and the things they're having you do. So
yeah, absolutely.
What we touched on earlier, taking it slow kind of thing is probably the most important thing for form and technique.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
So we've been talking about where to find these resources, what to look for, but, how do you make it fun? How do you enjoy workouts, but at the same time, like making sure that you're following the proper technique and form?
That is like $1 million question right there. To get really sciencey with it for a second here, there's actually research going on right now that's showing some people have this workout gene and other people don't. Okay. Mm-hmm. Some people thrive off of exercise and truly enjoy it. Other people have to work harder to make it happen for themselves. And, so that's the science side of it. I think we naturally see that, right? By some of us love going to the gym and we feel like something's missing from our day, from our life. If we go a couple of days without that, we start getting grumpy and angry and just not our best person. Whereas other people don't even notice that they've gone days, weeks, months without, going to the gym. And the answer of how to make it fun, the hard thing about that is it's going to be different for every person. As we mentioned, you may have some people who were previous athletes, and so they've gotten out of touch with it, but what they really enjoy is those going fast, going hard, really kind of getting pummeled workout sessions, because that brings them back to the days, and they just love that feeling. Working out so hard that you hurt afterwards is not for everyone, and I would say as a population on a whole, and probably the kinds of people that you're trying to reach in your exercise program, that's not going to cut it for them. I think maybe some universal things that could help is the person who's leading it being consistent and challenging, yet like attainable, so realistic, and also lighthearted. Not everybody likes the drill sergeant, but maybe sometimes every once in a while you want to say, okay, we're going to do 10 more, go, go, go. But then maybe you throw a joke in there occasionally too that gets a little, chuckle out of people. So they just kind of get to know you as a personality more so than a drill sergeant. I think for a lot of people, music too is something that makes working out more enjoyable. I think that's why certain exercise programs like Zumba have had such great success, because you can kind of get lost in dance and forget that you're even exercising, that you've elevated your heart rate and that you're burning calories then, because you're just, learning the choreography and doing a dance. Whereas rewind, maybe some of those people who are the athletes who like it hard and they like it, intense, they might not like the Zumba so much. So that's really hard. It's, to fit a lot of different people's personalities. I think, as with everything in life, you can't please everyone.
Mm-hmm.
But for you, with creating this program, what I would say is if you have some opportunity to create variety in your different exercise videos that you post, then, maybe you try and do a few of each, so that, maybe some people only do your music-y, dancey ones. I'm trying to picture
Yeah.
you doing a dancey workout right now. Whereas other people maybe do some that are more, a lot of plyometric moves, little rest in between, whatever the case may be.
Yeah. I think, you touched on something really important. It's all about the individual.
Mm.
I've talked about music in a different part of the program. I've talked about making it fun. And I think the key is you do whatever works best for you. Like, I can make suggestions, I can tell you this, I can tell you that, but overall you got to make it fun. And it's like not resting in between the exercises and just keep pushing harder and harder, then do that. If it's, playing music and dancing in between your push-ups or your squats, making it fun, I think is probably the most important thing.
I think you took what I said and, probably things you've said in other interviews or whatnot, or researched on your own, and made it yours. I like how you just combined that, because what I was going to say is I think one of the biggest challenges to you is doing videos. You're trying to reach a large population and you don't really know ahead of time what all they're going to want. You probably don't even know who all would be watching these or using these to know how to cater it. I think about, like, even if I was to teach a group exercise class and I had a room of people, I have the opportunity to be able to look around and see who's enjoying it right then and who isn't, who's excelling at it right then and who isn't. And, I can always go over and give them a little extra motivation or give them a little joke about something, lighten up the mood. And you can't necessarily do that in your video, but what you can do is those constant reminders of, here's me leading you through this. But I encourage you to individualize it the way you want. Either you take a break here or you don't. Maybe you're not going to take a complete break and, sit down for a minute. Maybe you're going to dance for the next minute and we'll come back here and do the next set together. So I like that just constant reminder that you could give to them, like, here's the general plan, but how are you going to make this yours?
Yeah, it's all about being individual. And I think it overall just help people get moving and being more physically active.
Yeah.
That was all the questions I had for the interview. Did you have anything else you want to say before we end it?
Not really. I can't wait to see some of these videos. I might even try them out myself. And having taught you, I didn't mention that part, as an undergraduate student, I'm really excited to see you moving in this direction and can't wait to see what all comes of it.
I'll make sure I'll send you the link to it.
Yes, please.
All right. Well, thank you for your interview and your expertise.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you.
Keeping me in mind.
Yep. Bye.
Bye-bye.